A day after the Pran Pratishtha ceremony, Ayodhya police had a tough time managing the crowd as devotees breached the security at Ram Mandir. Security officials were seen carrying devotees in a stretcher outside the temple. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath conducted an aerial survey of Sri Ram Janmabhoomi temple premises in Ayodhya as devotees continue to arrive here for the darshan of Ram Lalla. Ram Lalla deity at the Ram Mandir will now be known as Balak Ram, as the idol represents a 5-year-old boy in a standing posture. Chief Imam of All India Imam Organization visited the Ram Mandir and said humanity is the biggest religion. He added that this was the face of New India. Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar lashed out at the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, saying that Pran Pratishtha was a matter of people's faith and that he should have accepted the invitation. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi lashed out at Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, calling him a corrupt chief minister, perhaps the most corrupt chief minister in the country. He said there was a massive unemployment, corruption, price rise in the state and farmers were struggling and no youth can get a job in the state. Pran Pratishtha of Ram Lalla has catalyzed a flourishing trade network across the country, generating an estimated business of about 1.25 lakh crore rupees. More than 1.5 lakh Sri Ram events were organized by traders across the country. Delhi witnessed trade worth approximately 25,000 crore, while Uttar Pradesh experienced a surge of around 40,000 crore. BJP General Secretary Dushyant Gautam has said that Mamata Banerjee will not allow Congress to come. Even the left will not be allowed to come. He added that India Alliance has been created to fool the public and their sentiments and lecture others. Amid internal discord within the India Alliance over the seat sharing, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee asserted that the left is trying to control Indie Bloc's agenda. Congress leader and former Chief Minister Veerappa Moily has hit out at the Prime Minister and expressed doubts over the PM fasting for 11 days. He said that no one can survive by fasting for 11 days. On the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge and other leaders paid floral tribute to Netaji at the Samvidhan Sadan in Delhi. RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat said Subhash Chandra Bose did not see those dreams to leave them unfulfilled. He knew that this was not the work of just one generation. It will have to be worked on continuously and his own lifetime will not be enough for it. He thought of leaving behind such an inspiration that work will continue for generations after generations. Minister of State for Culture Meenakshi Lekhi spoke on Parakram Divas, which is celebrated today as the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. In 2021, Prime Minister Modi made the announcement to celebrate this day as Parakram Divas. Women have played a greater role in taking forward the civilization and culture of the country. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde lashed out at Uddhav Thackeray, saying that under the latter's leadership, Maharashtra did not develop as it should have been. He added that his faction left him and took his decision for the people of the state before starting the projects that were closed. BJP National President JP Nadda hailed Prime Minister's leadership and said in his tenure regime, he has changed the definition of politics and several big players in politics. He added that this decade has been a decade of transformation. Earlier there was pessimism towards politics, but Prime Minister Modi has now changed everyone's mindset. Varanasi District Court is likely to give its decision on making the Archaeological Survey of India report public on the Gyanvapi complex and provide copies to the parties tomorrow. Central Bureau of Investigation has served notices to Supreme Court lawyer Jayanant Dehadrai and has instructed him to appear before the agency on 25th of January for a preliminary inquiry in connection with the cash for query case. BJP offices for Lok Sabha elections were opened in 26 parliamentary constituencies, including Surat in Gujarat. Today, BJP leader and Minister of State, Railways and Textiles, Darshana Jardos, said that they will take the development work done by the government to the public and will win all 26 seats in Gujarat in the Lok Sabha elections. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari said that Parvatmala project, which was started under the guidance of the Prime Minister, is very important for the country. They've identified 200 projects worth about 1.25 lakh crore rupees, and the number of projects can go up. Tourist spots like Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, Yamunotri, or temples atop the hills now have access to ropeway and cable cars. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that we have now become an economy of $4 trillion. He urged all to look beyond the foreign policy and added India was betting on Africa's rights. West Bengal Legislative Assembly leader of opposition and BJP leader Shubhendu Adhikari held a rally from Durina crossing on the occasion of the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. A total of 51 Indian Air Force aircraft comprising 29 fighter aircraft, 7 transport aircraft, 9 helicopters and 1 heritage aircraft will participate in this year's Republic Day flypast. Enforcement Directorate carried out searches at 18 locations in Mohali, Panchkula, Chandigarh and 1 location in Himachal Pradesh in a money laundering investigation revolving around the then Haryana Urban Development Authority refund scam. The total value of the scam is around 70 crore rupees. Haryana Development Authority is now called the Haryana Shakari Vikas Pradhikaran. Maratha reservation activist Manoj Jaranje Patil began his Padyatra. He sounded hopeful that they will get permission to hold a protest at Azad Maidan or Shivaji Park. Jaranje is demanding Kumbhi caste certificates for the Marathas so that they can be included into the OBC groups. Ahead of the budget session, a contingent of 140 CISF personnel have been deployed at the Parliament complex to frisk the visitors. A comprehensive security review of the facility was undertaken after a few people breached the security and entered the Parliament Hall in December. The CISF will frisk the visitors, their belongings and also provide a fire safety cover to the building. At least 8 people were injured after a plane from the Myanmar army crashed at the Lengpoi airport in Mizoram. 14 people were on board with the pilot. The injured were hospitalized. 2 people died and 8 others were hospitalized following a gas leak at the chemical factory in Karnataka. The police have now registered an FIR against the owner of the factory and others. Indian stock market overtook Hong Kong to become the 4th largest equity market globally, speaking volumes about our economy, corporate India and the very regulated capital markets. Market expert Suril Shah said that the entrepreneurs of this country have realized the power of the capital market and the investors have an opportunity to invest in these kinds of growth stories which were previously unlisted. Adani Group will now sponsor 14 PhDs in Indology. This initiative coincides with the auspicious occasion of the Pran Pratishtha in the Ayodhya Ram Mandir and will promote the study of Indian culture, languages and literature, collectively known as Indology, while also highlighting the immense potential of India's culture and traditions to illuminate the world. Gautam Adani also shared his experience of the discussions at Davos 2024 that has painted a positive picture of India's emergence as a global power. The industrialist who attended the World Economic Forum said that India is poised to become an artificial intelligence hub and also hailed India's leadership of the G20 summit. US and British militaries bombed multiple targets in 8 locations which were used by the Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen. This is the second time the 2 allies have conducted coordinated retaliatory strikes on an array of rebels' missile launching capabilities. According to officials, warship and submarine launched Tomahawk missiles and also fighter jets that were used to take out Houthi missile storage sites, drones and launchers. Australia, Bahrain, Canada and Netherlands also contributed to the mission, included with intelligence as well as surveillance. Hundreds of displaced Palestinian children in the southern Gaza city of Rafah enjoyed a rare moment of joy when a youth group visited a shelter center to entertain them. The group sang and danced with the children before screening an animation film. NGO said their aim is to alleviate psychological pressure and stress, as well as the feelings of fear and horror that exist with shelter centers. The Houthi military has claimed responsibility for an attack on the US-flagged ship in the Red Sea. American ship the Ocean Jazz was in the Red Sea but was attacked. No organization operating in the region has acknowledged the attack. Family members of Israelis held hostages protested outside the residence of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. They spilled blood-red liquid on a road and banged on drums and also called for a deal to release the hostages held captive in Gaza Strip. The developments showed the increasing pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The US hit Iraqi airline Fly Baghdad and its CEO with sanctions alleging assistance to Iran's military wing. The US imposed a fifth round of sanctions on the militant group Hamas for abuse of cryptocurrency since 7th of October attack on Israel. The sanctions come as Israel's bombing campaign on the Gaza Strip continues and Iranian-backed militias in Iraq launch regularly strikes against bases housing US forces in Iraq and Syria. Thousands were seen fleeing from the southern Gaza city of Khan Younis as the Israeli military expanded its ground operations into the region. Most were heading for Rafah near the border with Egypt, with some driving vehicles laden with baggage while others simply walked with no possession. Israel said the fighting will continue and they aim to dismantle Hamas and return the hostages that were taken. Hamas called for the World Health Organization to declare the Gaza Strip as a famine zone as Palestinians are suffering from starvation amid food shortages. People in North Gaza are facing severe food shortages and have been forced to grind and eat animal feed in order to stay alive. A senior Hamas official said World Health Organization must use its international clout to push for human rights and humanitarian measures to prevent the continuation and worsening of this real humanitarian catastrophe. European Union foreign ministers argued that the creation of a Palestinian state is the only credible way to achieve peace in the Middle East. European Union foreign policy chief said ministers agreed the civilian death toll in Gaza was excessive and that the situation was as dire as one could imagine. The ministers expressed concern about Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's clear rejection of the idea of the creation of a Palestinian state. Volunteers in Rafah are reopening old graves in order to find room to bury the dead as the Israeli army's assault of the South Gaza city continues. Khan Younis has become one of the front lines of the conflict between Israeli forces and Hamas militants in Gaza in recent months. Flares were seen above the skyline of Gaza Strip from southern Israel as Israel carried out attack airstrikes in the besieged enclave. Earlier, the communication services across the territory dropped due to the ongoing fighting. More than 25,000 Palestinians have been killed in the conflict, which started when militants from Gaza attacked southern Israel on 7th of October. With just hours to go before the voting begins in New Hampshire's first-in-the-nation primary, former President Donald Trump held his final rally in New Hampshire, urging supporters to vote. Polls show most conservatives want to give Trump another chance at beating President Joe Biden in November's elections, despite Trump's 2020 election loss and the 91 felony charges he faces in 4 separate indictments. Former South Carolina Governor and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley stepped up her attacks against frontrunner Donald Trump, saying he's surrounding himself with political elites. The race for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination is down to 2 major candidates with just 1 day to go until New Hampshire's Government of the People primary. A man shot and killed 8 people at 3 locations in the Chicago suburbs. Authorities said that the victims were found at separate locations several hours after warning from authorities on social media that the alleged perpetrator should be considered armed and dangerous. The motive behind the killings is yet to be established. Police is in fact investigating the matter and searching for the accused. Biden administration has now announced sanctions against Iraqi airline Fly Baghdad for allegedly providing assistance to Iran's military wing and its proxy groups in Iran, Syria and Lebanon. Over 30,000 professors, librarians, coaches and other workers at California State University walked off the job in a week-long strike to demand higher wages. The protest started across 23 campuses and it comes 2 weeks after the officials ended contract negotiations, starting with a 5% pay raise this year. Mexico has demanded an urgent investigation into how U.S. military-grade weapons are increasingly being found in the hands of Mexican drug cartels. According to officials, Mexico's army is finding belt-fed machine guns, rocket launchers and grenades that are not sold for the civilian use in the United States. The Colombian Navy intercepted and seized a custom-made submarine. The vessel was containing nearly 800 kilograms of cocaine, valued at least almost $27 billion and contained approximately 2 million doses. NATO signed a $1.2 billion contract to make the artillery rounds to replenish the dwindling stocks of the member countries as they supply ammunition to Ukraine to help it defeat Russia in its military operation. The contract will allow for the purchase of 220,000 rounds of 155mm ammunition, the most widely sought-after artillery shell, allowing allies to backfill their arsenals and also provide Ukraine with more ammunition. A magnitude 7.1 earthquake struck China late Monday night. 2 houses collapsed and around 200 workers were affected. In fact, rescue operations still continue. The quake even downed power lines, but electricity was quickly restored in the region. At least 11 people died in a landslide in a remote mountainous area in southwestern China. 2 survivors were rescued and 47 were feared buried. Authorities said that approximately 500 people have been evacuated from the area.